Oh, hey Thomas. Hey guys. You guys know why I'm here. It is Saturday. It is Saturday, so you guys know why I'm here. You guys know exactly why I'm here. Wrestling Week in Review number 63. Let me just write something down on my note. I just want to make sure I remember which number I'm on, because this is number 63. Live stream. This is my Wrestling Week in Review podcast / live stream number 63. I'm going to tell you all right now, I cannot believe I've been doing 60 of these. I've done 63 of these, let alone 60. I can't believe I've done this many. And I'm going to continue to do this until I decide that I don't want to do it anymore, which who knows when that'll be. Who knows when I'll get bored of this. I don't know, but hey. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Obviously, you all know what this is, so let's get into it. Monday Night Raw is what starts us off the week. We start off the week with Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw started out with CM Punk. CM Punk had a message for Drew McIntyre in regards to their Hell in a Cell match, which was made official last week on Monday Night Raw. Not this week's Monday Night Raw, but last week's Monday Night Raw, in a segment involving Adam Pearce and Drew McIntyre. This time, CM Punk had a message for McIntyre. It was short, sweet, and it was simple, but it was to the point, and it may have been one of Punk's best promos in a long time. But yes, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk will go one-on-one inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. I totally expect that match to be if not the best match on the entire Bad Blood card. It has to be, because it's a Hell in a Cell match. We don't know what's going to happen in the match, but we all know it's going to be one big huge car wreck at the end of this. After the match is over. And so everybody knows what I'm drinking. The Powerade mixed berry, zero sugar, as I always do. Well, it's either this or the berry Propels, and I chose the Powerade today. So you'll be seeing me take swigs of this every now and then throughout the live stream, just for those who might show up, who may not have been who may never have come to one of my live streams before, or who are just subscribed to me, because I know I have at least a few people who are coming in, who might come in that are new. But yes, this was an awesome segment from CM Punk. We immediately go to Sheamus, who was being interviewed right before his match against Pete Dunne. He said that he is eyeing the Intercontinental Championship, and it's only fair that he would, because it's the one title Sheamus has yet to win, and it's the only title Sheamus has yet to win, and I do feel like at some point, that's what we're going to get at some point. We have to be getting at some point Sheamus winning the Intercontinental title. It just seems like the inevitable thing that's going to happen in WWE within the next year or so. But yes, Sheamus He went one-on-one with Pete Dunne in the first match of the night. The opening segment, the opener was obviously CM Punk, his message to Drew McIntyre, but this was the opening match of the night. This was against, he was one-on-one with Pete Dunne. Match went about 9-10 minutes. Pete Dunne, though, wins the match. Near the end of the match, Pete Dunne goaded Sheamus with a shillelagh, brought a shillelagh into the match. Sheamus wanted to use it on Pete Dunne, which would have gotten him disqualified had the referee seen it, and the referee was clearly right there. Adventures in Gardening, hello. You are obviously new to my channel, and welcome. Like I say to everybody that comes onto my live streams, if you want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It is never required, but I always appreciate the likes, no matter what. And thank you, Adventures in Gardening. I do appreciate that. Obviously, for those who may come in, who have been to my live streams and have been subscribed to me for a while now, this is Adventures in Gardening. Someone new that I found just last night. So thank you for coming, and thank you for the show. Also, if you guys, like I said, if you guys want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It's never required, but I would appreciate it. Sheamus went one-on-one with Pete Dunne. Like I said, went about 9-10 minutes. Near the end of the match, Pete Dunne brought a shillelagh in. Sheamus was going to hit Pete Dunne with it. The referee takes the shillelagh, gets it out of the ring, but not before Pete Dunne grabs a cricket bat from underneath the ring and swings it at Sheamus. Now, this is the one thing I didn't necessarily like about this, is that Sheamus sold it like he had actually gotten hit with the bat, whereas in reality, the cricket bat never really touched Sheamus at all. It may have grazed him on the arm, hit him in the arm, barely, but it mainly hit the ropes and didn't even hit Sheamus. So maybe Pete Dunne should have swung a little harder, or at the very least gotten a little closer to Sheamus with the cricket bat. But in the end, Pete Dunne does win this match. Where this goes from here, I'm not sure, but it was a nice little match to get things started. Roadkill Gaming Jory, I've seen you before. I've seen you before on other people's live streams. So, hey, thanks for coming. If you want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. Never required, but I would appreciate it. But I always appreciate it. Regardless. Braun Strowman was backstage. He was backstage with Miz. He wound up showing Miz the extent of the injuries he had sustained when Bronson Reed put him through okay, well, thanks. Well, hey, that's cool. I got two channels as well. I'll take one of my videos from my second channel and I'll share it to my community tab on this channel. So that way, if any of you want to go subscribe to that channel as well, my second channel has 77 subscribers. Maybe one day I'll get that to 100. Who knows? But shut up. Whoever you are, just shut up. You're not welcome here, and you're gone. Yeah, and for those who maybe are just now coming in, or those who've come in that are new to my channel, this is going to be the thing that you're going to be. This is the thing that I'm going to be saddled with probably for a very long time. Troll accounts that are coming in. There are going to be some troll accounts coming in But don't worry, I am going to get all of them, time them out, hide them, you know what. But thanks for the views. Thanks for the views. Anyways, Braun Strowman, he would have a match later on in the show against Bronson Reed. This was supposed to be a match, which never took place, and I will talk about that when I get to it. Up next, we had a match between Natalya and Zoe Stark. Natalya, last week, WWE had Raw. Last week on Monday Night Raw, they were in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which is Hart country. We had WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart on the show. But that show also featured the return of Natalya. There was a 6-woman tag team match scheduled for that show, which saw the Pure Fusion Collective go up against Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, and a mystery partner. And when I heard that Monday Night Raw that week was to be in Calgary, I immediately knew exactly who the mystery partner for Lyra and Zelina was. And yes, it was Natalya. She helped. They won. The babyfaces won this match. And so this week, we get Natalya versus Zoe Stark of the Pure Fusion Collective. I've said it already like maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm going to keep saying it. Pure Fusion Collective is a terrible name for this group. They could have come up with any other name, but they chose this name. It is what it is, but this match went about 5 minutes or so. Natalya won this match, which I'm not entirely sure why, because yes, she's a veteran, and I do respect Natalya, but I don't think she should be winning matches at this point. I think she should be putting over talent and helping get talent over. Not to say that she shouldn't be winning, and that what she should be doing is constantly losing and bringing people over. But in this particular sort of storyline, I'm guessing they're building up Pure Fusion Collective as a badass group, and having her lose to Natalya, a woman who doesn't really even need to be winning matches anymore. So I don't know. But if I'm not mistaken, Natalya does have a match next week on next Monday Night Raw, this upcoming Monday, against another member of Pure Fusion Collective. I can't remember which member it is, but I think she's going to lose that match because they're not going to have Pure Fusion Collective suffer 3 straight losses in a row on WWE television. Right after they've been booking this team up until this point as a badass group. But we'll see what happens. We then had a in-ring segment, a little back and forth promo exchange between Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. Last week, in the main event, Jey Uso won a fatal 4-way match to determine the number 1 contender to Braun Breaker's Intercontinental Championship. So this is a promo segment between the two of them. Their match will take place this Monday night on Raw. The Monday before, I'm guessing. No, it will take place the Go Home show, the Go Home Monday Night Raw for Bad Blood. Bad Blood will be on October 5th, which is a Saturday. So I will be watching that. Just so you guys know. This match will take place on the Go Home show right before Bad Blood. This was a fun back and forth promo exchange. At one point, though, Jey Uso went as far as saying that his Braun's title reign, might end up short and sweet, just like his NFL career. which as soon as he said that, I was like, oh my goodness. Jay actually went there because apparently, and I didn't know this beforehand, but Braun Breaker was apparently an NFL player for a brief period. He was signed with the Baltimore Ravens, I think. I can't remember which team it was, but he was signed, and he got, and like a couple of others that a couple of other wrestlers I know of that tried in their hand at NFL football, they got released before the season even began. I know Brock Lesnar tried his hand at NFL football, was signed with the Minnesota Vikings, but then got cut before the regular season even began, so that's how that ended up. But hey, it was a nice little, yeah, Braun Breaker definitely didn't take kindly to that. He tried to set up for the spear, yet Jey Uso beat him to the punch, speared him out, and that's how that segment ended. That's how that ended up. We then get a video package for the Wyatt 6 stable. Wyatt 6, this includes Nikki Cross, Bo Dallas, who was the leader of the group, and the brother of Bray Wyatt, who passed away in 2023. Eric Rowan, who is an original member of the Wyatt family, which Bray Wyatt led, a faction that was led by Bray Wyatt, which included Luke Harper and also Braun Strowman at one point, until he's not involved in this. This Wyatt 6 includes Bo Dallas, who is the leader, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, and its female member, Nikki Cross, although it is called the Wyatt 6, which means that there could be a 6th member, and a lot of people have been discussing online, and a lot of people are just convinced that the 6th member is going to be Alexa Bliss, as it makes the most sense. Alexa Bliss has history with Bray Wyatt, considering they were partnered up in like mid-20, in like the late summer of 2020. They started being paired up, and then were paired up and then until like 2021 at WrestleMania, when she sort of, I'm guessing, turned her back on the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And also, she has history with Nikki Cross, being that she is a former 2-time women's tag team champion with Nikki Cross. They both won tag titles twice as a team. Jen Holder 17, hi. Now, I do remember you from the live stream I was on last night. Social media grow show. I think that's what it was. Social media grow show. This live stream last night. Thank you for showing up. If you guys want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It is never required, but I would appreciate it. Also, if you have the ability to share out this live stream, if you want to do that, feel free to do so. Again, it's not required. I would just love to see if I could get a ton of people on this live stream. I think the most people I've had on the live stream while it was still going is like 10 maybe. And the most likes I've ever gotten on one of my live streams, at least one of these, is I think it's over 12, over 10, over the number 10, like 12 or 13. But most of those likes came after the live stream was over. And that was from people who watched the live stream who didn't get to watch it live with me. So it is what it is. But yeah, we got a video package for the Wyatt 6. Not sure what this video package is about and who they're going after next, but I am excited about this. I've been excited about the Wyatt 6 ever since they debuted. And their debut was actually was pretty much booked to literal perfection. Then we get a backstage segment involving Io Sky and Bianca Belair, one half of the women's tag team champions. This led to a match later on in the show. We also got a backstage segment involving Terra Twins, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest, and the New Day. The New Day, last week, Kofi Kingston informed Xavier Woods that they would have a match this week for the World Tag Team Championships currently held by Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough, who have not defended the titles since winning them off of the Awesome Truth a couple months ago. It's over 70 days, if I'm not mistaken, and they've only defended titles once, and that was this week on Raw against the New Day. New Day, especially Xavier Woods, he spoke to Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, said, hey, I know you guys have your problems with Judgment Day, but if it's okay with you guys, I would like to win this match clean without any outside interference. Damian Priest basically told Xavier Woods, okay, I respect that. I respect wanting to get the win on your own, getting the win on your own. And he and Rhea promised New Day that they wouldn't get involved. But apparently, unbeknownst to Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston had already brokered a deal, I guess, with the LWO to offset any Judgment Day interference. Up next, we got a Braun Strowman. This was the Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed match that was supposed to take place, but didn't take place because the two started brawling almost immediately before the bell even rang. What happened was this. Top rope broke after, I can't remember if it was either Braun Strowman or Bronson Reed. They were thrown into one of the corners, which then led to the top rope breaking almost on impact, immediately on impact. This goes then outside the ring. Braun Strowman looks to set up the Strowman Express, where he just spins his finger around and then just starts charging at his opponent. That didn't go as planned because Bronson Reed, the badass that he is, decided to take a fan from the crowd and throw it at Braun Strowman, which I thought was pretty, that was really badass, the fact that he was willing to actually take a fan and throw him at Braun Strowman. This then led backstage where they began pummeling each other on crates, and then at one point Bronson Reed does a splash to Braun Strowman through a table backstage. Braun Strowman eventually gets up as if nothing happened, and then just decides to drive Bronson Reed through a wall. This was pure chaos. I mean, these two guys clearly cannot contain themselves to the ring. Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I know that not everybody that comes into my live streams on Saturdays is a wrestling fan. So, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. I like Braun Strowman, and I do like this storyline that's going on between Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Basically, you've got King Kong versus Godzilla, and it's who's the bigger badass? Who's the badder superstar of the two? This is basically all that it is. This is basically Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman both wanting to be at the top of the mountain when it comes to who's the baddest man in WWE, Braun Strowman or Bronson Reed. They're the two biggest men in WWE at the moment. In terms of weight and size, yeah. And I love the storyline. I know some people are already saying that give them a last man standing match or Falls Count Anywhere match, because eventually they gotta have an actual match. And who knows, we could see another OMG moment with the ring collapsing and breaking, which has happened, I'm pretty sure now 3 times. And I mean, all 3 times that it happened previously, it involved the Big Show. The first time it was Big Show and Brock Lesnar breaking the ring on an episode of SmackDown in 2003. Then in 2011, we had Big Show and Mark Henry. They were, I think it was on either on a pay-per-view or SmackDown or Raw, whichever show it was. They broke the ring too. That moment actually wound up winning a Slammy Award for, I guess, OMG Moment of the Year, which, honestly, if that's not an OMG Moment of the Year, then I don't know what is. And then, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018 or 2019, I think it was either 2017 or 2018, Braun Strowman and the Big Show had another moment when the ring collapsed. And it's like, we could get another instance of that. Who knows? Who knows? I just would love to hear Joe Tessitore when it does happen. I would love to hear Joe Tessitore comment. Have something to say about that, like, holy, you know what? But yeah, I'm in love with this storyline. It's just 2 big men wanting to be the biggest and baddest, and they're trying to fight it out to see who is. And I like that, and I like it. We got, next up was the New Day versus Judgment Day. This match was for the World Tag Team Championships. Well, this went about 9 minutes. And like I said earlier on, we had a segment with the New Day, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Xavier Woods said that he wanted to go at it alone tonight, and that he knows what it's like for Damian Priest to want to go it alone. When he was World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest said, yes, okay, Xavier, I respect that. I respect wanting you to go at it alone. And so we decided to let Jey Uso and to let Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston go at it alone. But unbeknownst to Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston had brokered a deal with the LWO to offset any interference from Judgment Day, which we all knew was going to happen regardless of whether the LWO were there or not. And yes, that is what happened. At one point, Xavier Woods actually did have the pin on, I think it was Finn Balor, for more than 3 seconds. Although the LWO and Judgment Day were brawling at ringside, which distracted the referee. And New Day were obviously, I don't think that they were going to win this match anyways, but this also sort of, now, recently they had brought in a superstar named Odyssey Jones into this sort of storyline with Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods. When they were feuding with the Final Testament, and there's been rumors going around recently that the New Day might split up, and it looks like they are going to do this. Then we get Ludwig Kaiser. He's backstage with Adam Pearce. He's talking to Adam Pearce about finding an adequate opponent for Gunther. Adam Pearce basically tells Kaiser, I'm trying to do that, even though Sami Zayn makes a good case as to why he should face Gunther. And I mean, his case is as good as anybody's. He pinned Gunther one-on-one for the 3 count at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. I'd say Sami Zayn has every right to this match. He's already pinned Gunther once. I'm sure he knows he can do it again, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason why Gunther doesn't want this match. It's because he knows Sami pinned me at WrestleMania. He could do it again, and I'm not going through that. I'm not going to be humiliated twice by this guy. And I truly believe that's what it is. Gunther is just a little bit scared that Sami Zayn might pull off the miracle again, like he did at WrestleMania. Then we go into the Sami Zayn and Gunther segment. And Sami Zayn talks about wanting the World Heavyweight Championship, talks about Gunther rejecting his offer for a match twice now. This leads to Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser coming out, laying a beat down on Sami Zayn. And then Gunther would emphatically state that, Sami, as far as your request or your challenge goes, the answer will always be no, no, no. Ludwig Kaiser, though, stays behind to dish out more punishment. This leads to Sami Zayn getting back up and hitting a haluva kick on Ludwig Kaiser. That doesn't exactly sit well with Gunther. Then we go backstage to Xavier Woods is having it out with the LWO about getting involved in their matchup for the tag team titles. Kofi Kingston explains to Xavier Woods, hey, I told them to be out there because I knew that the Judgment Day were going to use the numbers game to their advantage, and guess what? They did. Yes, it cost them a chance to be 13-time tag team champions, and it definitely looks like they're heading down the road of New Day splitting up. What happens with Big E? Does Big E get involved in this at some point? I feel like they have to include Big E at some point because he is a New Day member, even though he is technically still hurting and no longer able to compete at the moment. They should still bring him on as a part of the storyline. It just wouldn't make sense if they didn't use him in the storyline. But it is what it is. We then get a backstage segment with Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. They exchange words. It's about Finn Balor wants to blame Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest for all the failures of Judgment Day within the last year, even though Rhea Ripley, all she ever did was ask for opportunity, was make opportunities for the Judgment Day, only for the Judgment Day to sometimes slip up when they were and then Jey Uso walks up and defends Rhea Ripley. This is a bit of a storyline that they're going with now. I'm guessing is a romance angle between Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley, which I am not mad at, but apparently Rikishi is, because he doesn't know why they're doing this potential storyline. And I'm like, dude, it's scripted, okay? You don't think Jey Uso's own wife knows what's going on and is okay with this? Like, dude. And also, Rikishi thinks that Jey Uso should already be a champion in WWE, and that WWE has been wasting Jey Uso. Like, I don't think they're wasting him at all. I think they're just biding their time until the time is right for him to go back over to SmackDown so we can reunite with his brother, Jimmy, and reunite with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn to form the old bloodline against this new bloodline 2.0. We get Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. This was a result of a backstage segment from earlier on in the show. This match was one of the best matches of the night. It was also one of the best women's matches I've seen in quite some time on the main roster. This match went about 9 minutes, but it was some of the best 9 minutes I've seen, especially from these two women. It seems like on Monday Night Raw, the women's division is just better than the women's division on SmackDown, even though they have women like Bayley, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton. On SmackDown, it's not like the SmackDown roster is beaming with storylines for the women's division. Get out of here. Go to hell. Trolls, trolls, trolls. Thank you for the views, but you're not needed and you're not welcome here. So get out. Bianca Belair wins this match. It is what it is. It's a great match. Don't know where these two women are going from here, but I can't wait. We got an American Made, a promo from American Made. This is a group that involves Chad Gable, Creed Brothers, Brutus and Julius, and Ivy Nile. Chad Gable turned heel in the, I guess, late spring of I guess in May 2020, for when he turned on Sami Zayn. He's been heel ever since, and this heel turn has been the best version of Chad Gable that we have ever seen on the main roster. This is basically giving people Perk Angle. Basically, what he is right now is basically the equivalent of what Kurt Angle was when he was heel. Every time he was heel, it was I think the best version of Kurt Angle. And this is basically what it is. I mean, they did a storyline back in like 2017 when it was revealed that Jason Jordan, who was in a tag team at that time with Chad Gable, was Kurt Angle's son. That was a storyline they did in 2017, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. They should have done Chad Gable. Chad Gable should have been the one involved in that storyline because it would have made more sense. Because Chad Gable is more Kurt Angle, is like basically a modern day version of what Kurt Angle is. Right now, he's basically Kurt Angle, heel. Just obviously he's not Kurt Angle, but he's basically doing the same stuff. And every time Chad Gable comes out now to the ring, whether to talk or to have a match or whatever, the crowd shouts, "You suck," the exact same way they did for Kurt Angle. Whether he was a face or a heel, that was their thing. That was his thing, that the crowd would just say, "You suck." Even when he was a face, and even when he was being cheered, that was just a way for the fans to just say, "Hey, we like you, but we're still going to say you suck." Because I think it's just their way of showing respect. They got a promo. What they do now that their feud with the Wyatt Six is over with, I don't know. But I'm excited to see where they go next. If they go, I have a feeling at some point that the Creed Brothers will be tag team champions on the main roster. It has to happen, and I know it's going to happen at some point. The Creed Brothers will be tag team champions at some point. I just know that's what's going to happen. Oh, come on, Carlito. You have no idea what you're talking about, and you're fake, you're a troll, and get out of here. You're not wanted, you're not needed. Don't know why you keep coming in here, although we all know who you I know who you are, and you're not fooling anybody. So get out of here. Get out of here, you're not needed. We got Ludwig Kaiser. He had a message for Sami Zayn. This was after the segment, after his segment with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. He challenged Sami Zayn to a match for this upcoming Monday Night Raw, and it has been made official. So Ludwig Kaiser and Sami Zayn will have a match this week on the next Raw, which is this upcoming. And now the main event was Damian Priest versus Dominic Mysterio. This match went about 12 minutes. It was a pretty decent match. Damian Priest wins, but Judgment Day, as always, they come in immediately like a pack of wolves and just start attacking Damian Priest. Eventually, Liv Morgan starts attacking Rhea Ripley. Jey Uso comes out to lend support for the Judgment Day, but out of nowhere gets speared out of his boots that was used by Braun Breaker, who is still mad pissed about the NFL comment from Jey Uso earlier on in the night when they had their one-on-one segment promo exchange. So it's going to be, I think Bad Blood's going to be a great show. Next week, this upcoming Monday Night Raw should be a very good show. We'll see what happens. If I were to rate Monday Night Raw this week, I'd rate it a 7.5 out of 10. Very good show. Not perfect, but it was very good. Now on to NXT, Tuesday Night NXT, which happens on Tuesdays. This NXT was a very good show as well. The opening segment was a contract signing between Ethan Page and Trick Williams. This match is to take place. Ethan Page is the NXT champion. Trick Williams is the number one contender, having beat Pete Dunne last week in a last man standing match, which Ethan Page did try to get involved in at least once or twice to try and get Pete Dunne to win, because he does not want to face Trick Williams. As much as he wants to say it doesn't matter, as much as he wanted to say that it didn't matter to him, it definitely mattered who won, because he was trying to get involved in the match on a number of occasions to try and get Pete Dunne to win instead of Trick Williams. He's obviously a little afraid to face Trick Williams, but he will, and this contract signing did not go as planned. At one point, Ethan Page decided to put Trick Williams through the table that was set up in the ring. That didn't go very well. Almost immediately after that, after we come back from a commercial break, we get Ava is backstage. She's walking around backstage with, I guess, her two associates who work with her, Stevie Turner and Robert Stone. She was obviously upset about the fact that the contract signing did not go as planned. In walks Javon Evans, who wants to talk to Ava about getting a match, or he wants something to do on the St. Louis NXT show, which will be on October 12th, which will be October 8th. So, and Ava tells him, "Don't know if I've got something, but I'll let you know." So basically, she didn't say no, didn't say yes either. So let me get back to you on that. We then get a backstage segment involving Tony D'Angelo and Hammerstone. Last week, we got TNA wrestler Hammerstone in a match against Obafemi. TNA wrestler Hammerstone was, I'm guessing, paid by Tony D'Angelo to take out Obafemi, the North American champion on NXT, and he didn't work. Hammerstone lost the match clean, 1-2-3, and Tony D'Angelo this week is not happy. He told Hammerstone to do a job, and he failed to do it. And he wants Hammerstone to get another match, and he wants Hammerstone to demand a rematch so that he can actually win this time. Hammerstone says, actually, I don't want to do that. And Tony D is like, wait, you can't be saying no to me, because I'm the Dynamite NXT. You do not say no to me. When I tell you to do something, you do it. Hammerstone says, well, if you have a problem, then why don't you just have a match with me? And that's exactly what we would get later on in the show. We would get a match between Tony D'Angelo and Hammerstone. Up next, though, we got a match between Lola Vice and JC Jane of Fatal Influence. This is a new women's faction in NXT. Fatal Influence, which I'm guessing is trying to replicate the whole Toxic Attraction sort of. It's got the same vibes as Toxic Attraction, although I don't know if it's going to be as successful as Toxic Attraction. But it does have JC Jane in it, who was a member of that original stable, who was a member of Toxic Attraction, along with Mandy Rose and Gigi Dolan. But we'll see how good this faction is booked. This faction has JC Jane, Jasmine Nix, and Fallon Henley. So we'll see what happens. This match went about 3 minutes. Earlier, right before this match, we had a backstage segment involving Lola Vice and Jada Parker. Neither of them really seem to really like each other, but both seem to have their own issues with Fatal Influence. Lola basically tells Jada, look, you may have your problems with Fatal Influence, but so do I. And you can do whatever you want to with them after I'm done with them. Lola Vice, this match, like I said, went about 3 minutes, a squash match. Basically, Lola Vice wins via a back fist to the face of JC Jane. This afterwards, after the match, the rest of Fatal Influence gets in there to attack, gang up on Lola Vice. Then Jada Parker comes out to make the save, although Lola Vice is not happy about it. And it was like, hey, I told you, stay in the back, let me handle Fatal Influence, and then you can have them, and you can have your way with them after I'm done. She didn't want Jada Parker's help, but Jada Parker was like, I can't just let Lola Vice get attacked by these three, like, basically mean girls. But hey, she wasn't happy about that. We immediately go backstage with Ava. She is in her office. She needs this contract between Ethan Page and Trick Williams signed. Tyrese, however you say his last name, I think he was a guest on that NXT show, and I think he's a basketball player, I'm not sure, but apparently he was like a guest, and he went into Ava's office and said, hey, Ava, if you want, I can do this. I can get these two to sign the contract. We also had a backstage segment with Ava. She was in the medical examiner's room with Trick Williams. Trick Williams promised Ava, look, Ava, I know you want this contract signed. I want this contract signed. It's getting signed. Don't worry, I'll sign it. We would get that in the main event. In the main event of the show. Then we get Tony D'Angelo versus Hammerstone. This was made because of the earlier backstage segment involving Tony D and Hammerstone, who was not thrilled about having another match with Femi, even though Tony D'Angelo basically demanded that he go get another rematch. This match went about 4 minutes. Wasn't necessarily a squash match, but Hammerstone was definitely having his way with Tony D'Angelo. And at one point, Tony D'Angelo gets thrown outside the ring by Hammerstone and just decides to walk out on the match and gets counted out, which means Hammerstone got the win. Then we get Zachary Wentz. He gets into the ring and has something to say to the NXT universe. He has footage that shows that Wesley was the man behind Trey Miguel's apparent injury, which cost the Rascals at a shot at the NXT Tag Team titles on the previous episode. Obviously, if you guys saw my Weekend Review live stream from last week, I said that apparently Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel were unable to compete for the NXT Tag Team titles on NXT that week, which the match was still happened, but they had the Street Profits in there in place of the Rascals, and we know now that Wesley was the guy behind Trey Miguel's injury. He showed footage of the injury of Trey Miguel being attacked by Wesley. Promised to end this feud between the two of them, him and Wesley, in Chicago in a street fight at the October 1st edition of Seed of NXT, which will be I think 2 weeks from now, and it will be the debut, and it is the debut of NXT on the CW, and I will be watching it, so I'm excited. We also got a match. We got a match between No Quarter Catch Crew. Before this match, though, we got a backstage with Charlie Dempsey. He is there with the other members of No Quarter Catch Crew. Hey, Sarah is here! Yay! I was starting to get a little bored because it didn't really seem like anybody else was here really typing in the live chat. But yay! Now business can pick up again. I'm doing great. I saw the I'm subscribed to Chance's channel, Nostalgic Pod Blast, and I saw his most recent live stream, which is scheduled for tonight, and I see the topic of discussion for tonight is Halloween movies. One of my favorite subjects is movies, especially horror movies. So I am very much excited for tonight. Very much. And I am very much surprised that Danny has not shown up yet. 53 minutes in the live stream and Danny has not shown up yet. I'm surprised. But hey, maybe he's just busy doing something and he can't show up at the moment. But hey, here's what it is. We got No Quarter Catch Crew versus Javon Evans. Yeah, I had a feeling that's probably the reason why. We got No Quarter Catch Crew, which is of Charlie Dempsey and Tavion Heights. They take on Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. This match went about 7 minutes. Went on for about 7 minutes. Oh, Maroney. Hey, hi. I'm glad you could make it. Oh, hey, Maroney. I don't know if you know this, but if you want to, at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., me and Dinoman are going live. Well, Dinoman is going live on his channel, and we're doing WWE 2K24 My GM mode. We've been doing that for the last couple of months or so. We're doing My GM mode. And if you want to, you can come over, have some fun with us. I think we're doing our pay-per-view this tonight. It's going to be a pay-per-view, so if you want to come over there, I'll link the live stream to the Bloodline chat on Messenger, just in case anybody wants to show up. Anybody's welcome. This match went about 7 minutes. The Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander actually did win this match, but it was after the match where things got a little juicy. Earlier on in the show, I said we had a backstage segment that involved Ava Raine and Javon Evans. He wanted something to do on the St. Louis October 8th episode of NXT, which will be held in St. Louis. And apparently someone caught wind of this, because as we all know, Randy Orton is supposed to make an appearance on the October 8th edition of NXT. We didn't really know what he was going to be doing, but now we know what Randy Orton will be doing on that episode of NXT. He will have a match, and he will go one-on-one with Javon Evans, I think that's going to be a great match. Young up-and-comer like Javon Evans, who is 20 years old, let me remind you guys. For those who don't know, Javon Evans is 20 years old. He's the youngest guy to main event a NXT pay-per-view, obviously, I'm pretty sure. I can't think of any other NXT superstars that have main evented a pay-per-view before they were 20 years old. Like, seriously, that's weird. That's cool. It is very cool. And so both of those episodes, the October 1st edition of NXT, which is going to be in Chicago, and the October 8th edition of NXT from St. Louis, they should both be good shows. But that's what this is. Randy Orton apparently tweeted it out that I got something going on St. Louis edition of NXT. Javon Evans, if you want a match, you got it against me. So that's what we got. We also got Brooks Jensen versus Dion Lennox. This was another squash match. Went about 2 minutes. Brooks Jensen won the match. I don't know what we're doing with Brooks Jensen. He's being paired up with Shawn Spears, but it should be good. Hey, Danny, thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming. And it's terrible that you're not feeling well. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I haven't exactly been feeling myself lately, at least in the morning, because I don't know what's going on. But now for the past 4 or 5 days, every day when I wake up in the morning, my back is killing me. It's killing me. I don't know if it's my mattress or what, but every night now for the past couple of days when I've been going live, when I've been going to bed, my back just kills. It's just killing me in the morning. Ugh. But yeah. We also got a tag team match. Rosemary and Wendy Chu, they took on Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. This match went about 6 minutes. This came about because of a match that Tatum Paxley and Rosemary had last week. Tatum won the match, but then Rosemary and Wendy Chu decided to attack Tatum Paxley after the match. This led to Lyra Valkyria coming in for the save. I think it was either last week or the week before last. No, it was the week before last. But this match was made because of that. Lyra and Tatum win the match. It is what it is. Then we got CM Punk. He had a an announcement to make. But before he actually got to make the announcement, we had Roxanne Perez come out to talk to, she, I guess, wanted to say some things to CM Punk. Well, the one line she said that was actually, I thought was kind of cool, is that for the longest time she was a CM Punk fan, and she was like an AJ Lee fan. But now, since she's a heel, she sort of has started to gravitate. Now she's saying that she should have been a Drew McIntyre fan from the beginning, and I thought that was pretty nice. And apparently, even Drew McIntyre noticed it, and apparently he tweeted it out. So hey, I thought that was pretty nice. Nice. We got a backstage segment with the family. They were confused as to why Tony D'Angelo backed out of his match against Hammerstone. What's going on? Eventually, Tony D confesses that he's worried about Obafemi and he's scared that he's not going to be able to beat the big guy. And I'd be scared too. If I were facing up against Obafemi, I'd be scared too. He is a big dude. And that triple threat match that him, Josh Briggs, and Dijak had at Stand and Deliver may very well be the best NXT match we see this year. Maybe a close second would be the Fatal 4-Way main event from Heatwave that involved Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, and Javon Evans. And I still believe that Javon Evans was the highlight of that match. We also get a message from A-Town Down Under. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, they talk about the St. Louis edition of NXT, the St. Louis episode of NXT, which will be on October 8th. They don't have anything to do on that night, and they called out Fraxium, which is Nathan Frazier, and Axiom. They invited them to be on the Grayson Waller Effect for this upcoming Tuesday on NXT, and then maybe getting a tag team match for the NXT tag titles on the October 8th edition of NXT, which will be from St. Louis. That should be a good match, although I am wondering, when does WWE plan on pulling the trigger on the face turn by Theory? They've been teasing it for months now, and they have yet to give it to us, even though there have been a couple of times when they really could have done it. Okay, well, hey, if you want to... Yeah, if you think you need to take a nap, feel free to do so. Thank you for coming, Sarah, and I thank everybody that is here at the moment. Then we got the main event, Trick Williams, Ethan Page. They did sign the contract. CM Punk then comes out, says that this match requires a special guest referee, and that CM Punk is going to be the special guest referee for this match between Trick Williams and Ethan Page that will take place in Chicago on October 1st, the debut of the CW on CW, NXT on the CW. And that's how that episode ends, with Trick Williams and Page again going at it. This time Trick Williams is the one that gains the upper hand. And I do believe Trick Williams is winning that match. I feel like that's what they're doing here. So, here's what it is. If I had to rate this week's NXT, give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very good show. Again, not perfect. Some things could have been left off, but all in all, a very good show. I'm guessing when CM Punk is on the show, it's always gonna just be better. I mean, I don't know if that's actually true, but it is what it is. people seem to like CM Punk. Now on to AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite this week. Like last week was a bit of a hot and cold episode. Some segments were hot, some matches were hot, other matches were just, and segments were just ice cold. Like the show opened up with Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. They've been feuding for the last couple of weeks. Apparently, this stems from an incident that happened like 4 years ago during the pandemic era when they were forced to have AEW Dynamite just in Daily's place all the time. They had a feud back then, and it stemmed from Orange Cassidy ruining a jacket of Chris Jericho's that cost a lot of money, and he finally wanted Orange Cassidy to pay up. Last week he did, apparently in a segment that involved him throwing just a whole slew of just pennies on top of a car. I guess it was a Bentley. Yes, of an expensive car. Here, Brian Keith yelling like, not the Bentley. Oh, yeah. This feud has been nothing short of dull. And this match went about 20 minutes, and it was 20 minutes not needed. I mean, yes, they could have had the match, but did they really need to tack on 20 minutes to this match? I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Anybody and everybody that has feuded with Chris Jericho in AEW, none of them have really come out on the other side. The only person who intact, with their dignity intact, and their stature intact, the only person who ever feuded with him, with Chris Jericho, you can truly say came out on top, who came out and eventually looked better than they did before the feud, was MJF. But then again, he was already established, so it's not like it mattered. But still, most of Chris Jericho's feuds have left the other guy, when the feud ends, it's like Eddie Kingston. He feuded with Chris Jericho for months. In the end, it didn't do much for him at all. Ricky Starks. Look at Ricky Starks. He feuded with Chris Jericho. Looked promising. And yeah, eventually, like, it didn't do him very much. It didn't do him any good. He's now figured to be on his way out of AEW. So yeah, tell me that Chris Jericho isn't the kind of guy that takes people, sucks them into his world, and then takes every ounce of charisma and takes everything and just, I don't know. Chris Jericho, I don't know Chris Jericho. I think Chris Jericho should just retire, because I don't think he's doing AEW any good. I think he's doing more harm than good. And this learning tree gimmick is just, I don't know. He's like a guy who thinks he's doing good, but he's a bad guy. We got, after this match, which Orange Cassidy did win, by the way, not needed. Match wasn't really needed. Although we could have had the match, and just could have been a lot shorter, and they could have devoted another 10 minutes or so to another match or another segment. Saraya, she's backstage. She had some words for Jamie Hayter, who returned at All In during the pre-show. They've been feuding now, seem to be feuding at the moment, and they haven't actually had a match together yet. But as of last night, if I'm not mistaken, on Collision, on Rampage, they, I guess, had a segment with Jamie Hayter and Saraya, and they will have a match, but Saraya will make the rules as for the match stipulation, I'm guessing. I'm guessing what that means is she'll pick the stipulation for the match. So it is what it is. Nothing too serious. We got Ricochet taking on Beast Mortos. This came about because last week Ricochet had a match against, I can't remember who it was, Sammy Guevara. Beast Mortos came in after the match and took out Ricochet, although Sammy Guevara came in for the save. Oh, okay. Well, see you later, Danny. I'll see you later tonight. So he took on Beast Mortos. This match went about 7 minutes. It was okay. Would have been much more happy with this match opening up the show instead of the 20-minute match with Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy that did absolutely nothing. That match was ice cold, whereas this match actually had some heat to it. After this, we got a Roderick Strong promo. He was backstage. He sent a message to Hook, who he seems to be coming after right now. I'm guessing he wants a match for the FTW Championship. I don't know why we're doing this. Roderick Strong deserves so much better than just a title that isn't even recognized by AEW. This title, the FTW title, was created by Taz in the 90s in ECW. It's not even a title that's recognized by AEW. If you go on AEW's website, look under their roster page, if you scroll down, it'll show you every single champion in AEW. Every single champion in AEW that's recognized by AEW, Hook is not on that list. Hook is not recognized as an official AEW champion, as a champion in AEW, because the FTW title is not an official title. I don't know why we're still holding on to that title. I figured at some point we just retire it, but I'm guessing not. I don't know if it's just because Taz has too much pride and just doesn't want to retire that title. But it needs to be retired, and it needs to be retired ASAP. And we do not need guys like Roderick Strong wanting to go after it when they can clearly go after other titles that are more prestigious and more fitting for Roderick Strong. But hey, we also got the Conglomeration. They were backstage. This is a faction that came about no more than a couple months ago. It comprises of Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, Willow Nightingale, and Orange Cassidy. They were backstage. They I guess don't remember really what they were talking about, but it is what it is. They were backstage. We have a women's tag team match. Queen Aminata and Yuka Sakazaki. They took on the team of the AEW Women's Champion Mariah May and Serena Deeb. This match went about 6 minutes, and the team of Mariah May and Serena Deeb did win this match. It is what it is, just a basic women's tag team match. It wasn't bad at all, actually. It was a pretty decent women's match, but just wasn't anything too special or anything. We got John Moxley and the BCC, for what's left of it. They came out to talk. I guess we're going to have a few more words to say, but before they even got to the ring, they had Private Party tried to sneak attack the BCC. That didn't necessarily work. They got pummeled. Commander, who was supposed to be in a trios match last week with Private Party, he also was there, tried to get involved. He got beat up as well. Then Darby Allin comes out, has had enough of this, and just wants to get at John Moxley. They'll have a match at Grand Slam, which I think is next week in New York, Queens. I'm not sure where it is. I'm guessing maybe it'll be at Arthur Ashe Stadium again. I don't know, but Grand Slam is next week. This was basically the go-home show for Grand Slam, which is one of their bigger shows. It's probably their biggest regular NXT AEW show, AEW Dynamite show, except for maybe Blood and Guts, which is the only other show that they have that's an actual gimmick show. But it should be, Grand Slam should be good, but I don't know. We also got Hook. We got a match with Hook versus some guy, local talent, I'm guessing, named JD Inc. Match went about 2 minutes or so. Hook wins the match easy. This was I'm guessing, I guess to send a message to Roderick Strong. Again, it wasn't really necessary. We also got, the main event was the Elite of Matthew Nicholas Jackson and Jack Perry versus the Don Callis family, which comprised of Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and I'm guessing Will Ospreay. The babyfaces do win this match. Now, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher have a match against the Elite, Matthew Nicholas Jackson, for the AEW Tag Team titles at Grand Slam. I'm sure they're going to lose because I'm thinking what's going on here is that Will Ospreay is going to get a beatdown coming by the hands of Don Callis, who is essentially a heel manager managing a group that could technically be considered a babyface, except for Konosuke Takeshita. Because Kyle Fletcher is Will Ospreay's friend. I don't know what they're doing with the Don Callis family. But that's just the way I see it. But that was basically it for AEW Dynamite. Wasn't much. If I had to rate it this week's episode, I would rate it a 5.5, generously. As it is. Now on to SmackDown. This was another great show compared to last week's. Not as good as last week's, but still very, very good. So we get the opener was LA Knight versus Andrade. This was a match for the US title. This match went about 13 minutes. I did sort of expect a moment in the match where Carmelo Hayes is going to cost Andrade the win, but no, we actually got this match free of any interference, which I was a bit surprised at, and LA Knight retains the title, which I knew was going to happen regardless of whether or not Carmelo Hayes interfered or not. He didn't, which surprised me because I thought he would, considering that he's been kind of pissed off about losing to Andrade. After the match, though, we did get a backstage segment. Andrade was backstage, and just walking backstage after his loss. Carmelo comes up to him and just says, like, you lost? Like, I saw that happening a mile away. If it had been me in that match, you'd be seeing me with the US title over my shoulder. And so they eventually start fighting it backstage. So I'm guessing this really isn't over, even though it should be, because the match they had last week was their fifth and final match, apparently, in what is now being referred to as a best of 5 series. It didn't start out like that, but it turned out that way. Then we get a segment involving Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. This was a bit of a cinematic segment. They did this not in the ring, but they were at Georgia Tech. Roman Reigns was they did this in the stadium where Georgia Tech plays football. This was actually a very good segment. Maybe one of the best Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes segments we've gotten in WWE, which is great. This is great. They are teaming up to face the Bloodline. Remember, the new Bloodline, aka, well, two members from this new bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu at Bad Blood, October 5th. Should be a good match, not just because of the talent that's involved, but the added suspense of whether or not Cody can actually trust Roman, because obviously Roman Reigns does not like Cody, mainly because he took the Undisputed title from him, and obviously he's still coming after that once he feels like he's done with Solo and company. And I'm guessing this is not going to be the end of it, but we'll see what happens. But this was a great segment throughout. We also got a backstage moment with Kevin Owens, who was watching that segment, and after watching it, he didn't feel he was a little ticked off a little bit following this segment. I'm guessing we're getting a heel turn from Kevin Owens eventually on Cody Rhodes. That just seems like what they're going with. He didn't seem all too happy that well, Cody Rhodes is teaming up with the one guy who's been a thorn in Kevin Owens' side for years. We also get a backstage segment with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. They were preparing for their tag team match against Bayley and Naomi, which at first was just a normal tag team match, but this match was then made into a tornado tag match by Nick Aldis on the basis that Naomi and Bayley might not want to tag each other in because apparently the stipulation of the match is that whoever pins Nia Jax, if either Bayley or Naomi pin either Tiffany Stratton or Naomi or Nia Jax, they will get a title match against Nia Jax at Bad Blood. And so that's why Nick Aldis made this a tornado tag match stipulation. So there wouldn't be any tagging in your opponents. They wouldn't have to worry about it. But this was a nice little match. Went about 10 minutes, but before the match, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton had a backstage segment. They were getting ready for the match. Nia Jax makes a joke to Tiffany Stratton that if Tiffany Stratton gets pinned in this match, maybe she should leave SmackDown. But, and that was actually a nice little segment. They are teasing the hell out of Tiffany Stratton eventually cashing in on Nia Jax, which I believe needs to happen, and it's going to happen, whether we want it to happen or not. Because I know there are some people out there who are just absolutely going bananas over Nia Jax as women's champion, and only because she's a member of the Bloodline and a member of the Rocks family. That's the only reason why they are loving Nia Jax as champion, basically because she's a part of the Bloodline, and that's why they don't ever want her to lose the title. But she's going to lose that title, and she's going to lose in a cash-in by Tiffany Stratton. This match, though, lasted about 10 minutes. Chaotic. It was a bit chaotic, but the ending of the match was unique because we saw Naomi pin Nia Jax, but Bayley was also right there, a part of the pin attempt on Nia. They got the 3, and so basically what we got was both Naomi and Bayley pinning Nia Jax at the same time. And Nick Aldis, later on after this match, Nick Aldis is backstage with Naomi and Bayley. He informs the both of them they will face off one-on-one next week on SmackDown to determine who will face Nia at Bad Blood. I'm guessing this will lead to an interference of such by Nia Jax and or Tiffany Stratton, which then leads to a DQ win, which then leads to a triple threat match between all 3 competitors. That's the way I feel it's going. We got another match between Apollo Crews and Giovanni Vinci, but this match, what I will give SmackDown credit for, the good thing, this match between Apollo Crews and Giovanni Vinci. This match lasted more than 3 seconds. The bad news is that this match lasted just less than 1 minute and 30 seconds. Still a squash match. Still, Vinci loses. What they're doing with Vinci, I have no idea. They almost looks like they're giving him the same sort of gimmick that they gave him in NXT, which is a man who just seems to like the finer things in life, and who dressed, because last week when he came out to the ring, he was dressed in I'm sure was a very expensive tracksuit. He couldn't even get his jacket fully off before getting pinned in just 3 seconds by Apollo Crews. What they're doing with Apollo Crews, I don't know. What they're doing with Giovanni Vinci, I don't know. But this made literally no sense. We also got a promo from Chelsea Green. Next week on SmackDown, she will have a match against Michin, and the match will be a dumpster match. This all came about because last week we had a backstage moment with Vicky Guerrero, who is a former SmackDown and Raw general manager. And she was there as a guest for SmackDown on NXT for SmackDown. SmackDown had a bunch of guests last week for their season premiere and who were in attendance. A lot of them were former superstars, Rob Van Dam, Booker T and his wife, Sharmell, Queen Sharmell, basically, and she was there too. She had a backstage segment with after the show, exclusive with Byron Saxton, who was a backstage interviewer. She had an idea for a match between Chelsea Green and the idea she had was for a dumpster match, because that's a lot of those matches. She used to watch a lot of those matches in the Attitude Era, and she was wondering why we don't do matches like that anymore. And so that's what we're gonna get next week: Chelsea Green versus Michin in a dumpster match. Should be a fun match. Should be a hilarious match just to see Chelsea Green get put into a dumpster. Also, she seems to have she has this Karen gimmick of where she just complains about everything going wrong for her and just demands things like this and that. And it's funny. It's funny and it's hilarious, and I like her. The main event was supposed to be Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and DIY. This came about because of a segment earlier on in the show when Kevin Owens was out there. I guess he had something to say. The Bloodline came out to attack him, to ambush him. DIY comes out. This leads to Nick Aldis making a match for the main event. Though before the match even gets started, DIY get attacked, ambushed from behind by the Bloodline. They absolutely destroy DIY. This then leads to the Bloodline going after KO. But then, the Street Profits would come out to help Kevin Owens. This match is made official. So instead of Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and DIY, it's Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. It is what it is. It was a great match. Went about 11 minutes. It is what it is. Bloodline, Kevin Owens and the Street Profits actually do win the match. Bloodline, though, again, like they do all the time, they attack Kevin Owens, attack Street Profits. Then Cody Rhodes comes out with a steel chair to I guess, even the odds a little bit. That's how this show ends, and the show ends actually with Kevin Owens looking a little PO'd at Cody I'm guessing, for being in this tag team match with Roman Reigns, and that's how the show ends. If I had to rate SmackDown this week, I would rate it a 7 out of 10. Pretty decent, pretty good show. Wasn't as good as last week, but still pretty good. Well, guys, that's about it. Don't want to take up too much more of you guys' time, but this is the end of the live stream anyways. So I want to thank you guys for showing up and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next week. And until next time, I will see you guys later, and peace. Bye, guys.